All right, good evening. Call the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Inform the public that we are being recorded live by Raynham and ask everybody to stand for the pledge. Ms. Riley, you want to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to accept the minutes, and we do have two sets of minutes because there was a special meeting Monday morning for the purposes of approving and posting the special town meeting warrant, which will be conducted immediately prior to the annual town meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the April 30th meeting and for the May 6th special meeting as printed.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and inform the public we are returning from an executive session with no votes taken. We're going to hop right into it. Department heads, our building commissioner, Bob Iafredi.
Good evening. I'll try to be brief. So the housing starts and activity have picked up recently because of the spring weather. Campbell Court, we have 2 homes under construction. Forest Street, 4 homes. Orchard Avenue, 2 homes. Locust Street, 1 home. And Pine Street, Bridgewater Side, 6 homes. Bassett Knoll has completed Phase 1 and 2. All the permits have been issued. They're preparing roadway for Phase 3, which is an additional 24 lots. Bassett Knoll East is in front of the planning board right now. That's 28 lots. 27 lots are underway at Doe Run off of Pine Street. And we still have several commercial projects being constructed and underway, as I reported last time I was in front of you. Depew, Johnson & Johnson has just started an $18 million interior renovation project. That's underway. That's a big project going on. As far as permits, building permits, 199 as of calendar year. Plumbing and gas, 524 fiscal year number. And electrical is 330. Our office remains pretty active with the overall spring activity. And it's remained a constant flow in and out with building permit applications. We're working on some IT upgrades for some online permitting. Hopefully that'll happen in the next couple of months. Planning board side, planning board has regrouped. Mr. Andrade is the current chairman for the next year. Applications in the pipeline for the planning board is the adult retirement community off of Church Street and Route 44. That's 49 age-restricted units, single-family units. Children's Development Center at 366 South Main Street is in front of the planning board. They've had their first hearing last week. And then we have 3 lots, private way, and 2 retreat lots in front of the planning board off of Forest Street. We will be reviewing the rules and regulations with some help from Serped in the near future. I'll keep you informed as the progress as that goes along. And then South School repairs, we have completed the asbestos abatement. The carpenter is going in there to finish the work that was in the room where the asbestos was found. That should be buttoned up here in the next week or 2. I'll be able to tally all those numbers and get the final numbers to the insurance company with the help of Gordon here in the next couple of weeks. So you all know the 138 overlay district zoning proposal is on the warrant for the next meeting. If there's any questions, I can answer them, but I think we've kind of covered that more than we planned to. And lastly, a couple of months ago, we presented some renderings for the entrance proposal for Town Hall. You asked me to go back and get some figures. I'm not sure if you received an email I got back from the architect.
Nope.
So he ballparked it. He's an architect. He's not an estimator, but the number for the first level, 1 single-story roof only, was about $350 a square foot, translated to about $300,000 to do that project, and they figured probably double that number to do that 2-story scenario where we might have an extra meeting room on the 2nd floor. So I'm here tonight to find out how you'd like me to proceed from here.
I'll open it up to the board.
Very obviously, I'd like to say start tomorrow, but unfortunately, that is not something that we can possibly do, so I think we have to...
Motion to table it this
Yes.
time? Motion
Second.
to table it this
All
time.
in favor?
Aye.
Right, that's my report.
Any questions for the commissioner?
None. Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you, excellent report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Matt Tanis, our health agent.
Good evening. First off, just getting the new inspector, Deb, squared away. Actually, first went on her own today, doing some inspections, and they went well, so I'm happy about that. And she's off and running, so that's good. I had one new food establishment open actually last week. It's a second location for the Farm to Cup Juicery. Their original location, and they're still there, is on 138. They opened a new location, 1375 New State Highway. Used to be a Dunkin' Donuts inside the gas station there. So they're all set and open. We've had a lot of temporary events happening at the Crew Brew, the brewery. Have had some issues and some communication issues with the brewery owners with what we require for the food vendors to submit to us, and when it's submitted, we require a 7-day prior to the event to have everything in, application, all documents, the fee, so that way we can make sure it's complete and schedule either myself or the inspector to go out, especially that a lot of these are on Saturday or Sunday. So I think we're finally starting to get somewhere, and we're getting them in on time. So just a learning curve for everybody. The warmer weather, nicer weather, nuisance inspections are starting to increase a little bit. We'll be starting pool inspections within the next couple weeks, and I have one summer camp that actually has applied, which I don't think we've had a camp for a while. So they've submitted everything. I'm reviewing it. It's a 1-week soccer camp. Working still with the veterans agent on one housing issue, trying to get violations corrected, and this week we've started to make some more progress, so I'm happy about that. I did issue an order letter just due to the fact that things seem to have kind of stalled, but I think it's picked up again now, so moving in the right direction. A big issue in the last couple weeks has been CBD products. I've talked to Chief Donovan. He's reaching out to some of his chiefs and reached out to town council, and I'm reaching out to some of my area town health agents to see how they're handling the products. Not really sure if the CBD products are allowed with the bylaws that we have in place regarding the synthetic marijuana. So until we get confirmation, I've just been telling everybody just to hold off. With the 2018 Farm Bill, it's kind of taken off with hemp being legal, but there's a lot of unknowns, and we want to make sure it's all done the right way before we tell retailers that they can start selling the products. So be following up still with town council and Chief Donovan, and when we get a final answer, I'll let the board know, or the chief will let the board know. Another issue that's been coming up the last couple months and recently been more of an issue. I had an illegal, or a complaint regarding illegal microblading, which is permanent, semi-permanent makeup establishment. When I went and inspected, they had already packed up and left, so it wasn't an issue for me to deal with at the time. But it brings up an issue that the microblading, it falls under our body art regulations. The problem is that a tattoo artist has to follow very strict guidelines. They usually have a 1 to 2 year internship. I mean, it's pretty regulated. They have to have anatomy and physiology. The microblading, you can go to a 2-day class, be certified, if you will, and be working. While the microblade, the blade doesn't go as deep as a tattoo needle does. It's inserting pigment under the skin. So with that, I'm looking into possibly requiring any new microblade or semi-permanent makeup artist in town to go through a skincare class. The Quincy Health Department used to put one on. The director there no longer puts it on for people outside who are going to be working outside Quincy, but she did release the program, which was put together between herself and the BU School of Medicine, to all health agents if they felt comfortable putting it on. It's a couple hours, just covers skin care, diseases, things like that to look for, and proper aftercare. So just given the lack of training, I think it might be something good to consider going forward. So once I get the program squared away and I feel comfortable, I'll talk to the board further about it. I'll probably charge an additional fee for the time. So Also, I started to review our fee schedule, found maybe about 6 to 8 fees that are drastically lower than surrounding towns. So I'm just getting a little more documentation together from not just surrounding towns, but similar towns. When I do that, I'll present my findings to you, and if you wish to make any changes, I'd be more than happy to entertain those. And just an update regarding EarthSource. I've had almost no contact with the DEP regarding EarthSource in the permit renewal in about a month. Left a couple messages, haven't heard back. So as far as I know, they still don't have a permit to operate. Yet they are still operating. We still get complaints. It's sporadic. You go a day, a couple complaints, and you might go a week with none. So I did send Mr. Kelly a letter just explaining that we do still get complaints. It is a nuisance, the odors, and if you could just reach out to us and let us know what the status is of not only the permit renewal, but the order of non-compliance that was issued by the DEP back in early January. And lastly, just a reminder, ticks are out in force, and mosquitoes will soon be out in force, so just be aware. And the larvicide aerial spraying that was being conducted by the county has been completed. And lastly, I'll be doing the tick and mosquito talk at the Senior Center this Thursday, May 9th at 1 p.m. So encourage everybody to attend. I got a pretty good program put together. So,
Thanks, Matt. Any questions for Matt?
No, very good. Thank you very much,
welcome.
Matt.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
have a good night.
Thank you. I don't believe we have any other department head. Mrs. Sylvia, you're just here for later, correct? No other department heads, I don't see. Okay. All right. Under appointments, we have the interview for the fire chief position, and how I see this going is we'll have the deputy come up, introduce himself, offer any comments that he'd like the board and the public to be aware of. The board, at that point, can ask any questions of the deputy. Due to the nature of the position, I would suggest if there's any questions from the chief or any comments from the chief, to allow him to do that, and then if the board's so inclined, we can talk about going for a formal appointment. Does that work?
Sounds
Works for
good.
me.
All right, deputy, you're up.
Pressure here. Brian Lasivita, I am the Deputy Chief of the Raynham Fire Department. I have been a member of the fire department for 25 years, starting back in 1995. I grew up in Raynham. I'm a product of the Bridgewater-Raynham school system. The Deputy Chief, as the Deputy Chief, I report directly to the Chief, and my responsibilities have a pretty vast and far-reaching of an umbrella. My daily job is to handle fire inspections, code enforcement, plan review, and then there's a couple divisions that I kind of oversee, which is fire alarm, fire education, and fire investigations. And then I handle, with the chief, the operational side, which is fire suppression and the emergency medical services that we provide here at town. I'm married. I have 2 kids. As you can tell, everybody is here. I'd be happy to take some questions if you all have any.
Good. Thanks, deputy. Mrs. Smith.
Well, Brian, I read your resume, and following up on that, you've given us basically what is there. I commend you for going forward and doing all of the different studies and tests and programs that you had in order to get to this position. Tell me just why you want to be it.
I want to have an impact on the town and the fire department. I've been here a long time, since I was a kid, basically 19 years old as a call firefighter. I got hired at 21, so it's just being here. And then 10 years ago, when Chief Janis became chief, I saw that not a lot of the leadership had put in for it, and he was the only one. And it kind of struck a chord with me that I wanted to show the town that there were other people interested in this job, especially 10 years from now, where we are today.
Right.
So it really drove me to develop myself, and it was helped me set a benchmark to come in and an interview prior to all this 10 years ago. So it helped me realize where I was, where I wanted to be, where I needed to be, and I decided that in order to help the community and help the fire department, so we're all successful, that I wanted to be here as the chief.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Mrs. Smith?
No, I'm good.
Miss Riley?
Just want to say congratulations, Brian, for being the unanimous choice and recommendation of the screening committee, and after reviewing your application, it's easy to understand why. Just again, a little background for people that may not be fully acquainted with you. Why did you first want to become a firefighter?
I knew I wanted to go into public safety. Firefighting was not the original plan. My father was a police officer here for a very long time, and I went to criminal justice, and then probably gently guided toward the fire department. Got on as call firefighter, and you just get the bug, and you realize that it's a lifestyle here, and one first call as a 19-year-old kid in the back of a truck with somebody helping you out really set me forth in my career here, and I knew that this is something I wanted to do, and just to help out. I enjoy public safety. I enjoy the town of Raynham. I grew up here, and I can't think of really any better way to give back to the town than what they've done for me. I mean, basically supported me since I was 5 years old to now. So it's a good way to give back to the town.
Sure. Just another question, too. I know fire prevention has become such an important part of the fire department, and you've been involved in that. Do you have any ideas about how maybe you'd like to expand that, particularly with the schools?
I think the schools, I think we just outreach more. We do more community outreach with the schools. We're in there quite a bit, which is good. Is probably, like you said, it takes on a bigger life of its own. We're in there for fire drills. I was just into the Merrill School today doing a fire drill. So we make sure that they're supposed to do some, but we educate them on how to get out of the building and how to perform during a fire alarm. We're there for field day. It kind of breaks down the barriers where we're there just squirting water on them on a hot day. We're there for Flag Day. We're there for various occasions that they have there, or events that they have there. I think that's important. They get to see us as not just showing up to their house because of an emergency, and I think that's important for us to move forward just as a community. We're part of the community, and you shouldn't always have to see us when maybe you're having a bad day.
And have some local heroes to look up
Right.
to. Excellent. Thank you very much.
And I do serve on the safety and safe
Council for the
committee
school.
at the school, and we've been able to train with Superintendent Swenson. He's offered us training for Alice and various things that happened during this time period of where we are today anyway,
Okay.
in our climate.
Very good. Thank you.
Deputy.
Yes, Joe.
You and I have had the opportunity to work together for a number of years and talk, and so I like to know I have an idea of what makes you tick and everything, and not so much for my benefit, because I think in my mind you've satisfied any concerns that I had, but for the boards and the publics, can you just speak a little bit to your experience with and comfort level with the budget? Because I know especially over the past couple of years, you've been instrumental with Chief Janice in developing the budgets and making sure that the budget provides for a lot of different things to make sure that the guys in the department are protected. One of the issues that you guys have prioritized is the training and education piece, and so maybe just highlight that for everybody.
Well, I think it all started when you climb the ranks, as I've had, you start to gain more and more responsibilities. As a lieutenant, we started with a tuition reimbursement program for college, and I became somewhat of the guy that was in charge of making sure that every guy had an equal piece of the pie to be able to take classes for their college education. And then when I got promoted to captain fire inspector, we have a fire alarm count where we take in permits and we charge for the radio boxes that are out there. So we bring that in. That generates revenue to cover my position when I'm not here on training, or for the guys that come inside. And then as the deputy chief, I've been lucky enough to sit with the chief and Sally over the last couple of years and sit down and really understand the budget, learn the budget, how it operates, how it flows. And I've been able to attend the finance committee meetings, the capital planning committee meetings. I've been here for different other financial meetings. So it's enabled me to at least get a good grasp on it, knowing that this day at some point would come. We all know Jim was 65 years old, so there was, we knew it was coming, and I felt it was very important for us to sit down and really go over things, so the succession of that would be successful, and that we can move on and have stability moving forward.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions from the board for the deputy? No. All right. Chief, you have anything you want to say?
No, I think the deputy, soon-to-be chief, will do a great job, and I don't think they'll have to have any worries. He's got a good staff behind him. I promoted them all, and I don't think you have to worry about anything.
Good.
things will probably run better.
Thanks, Chief. We do have Chief Levy from Bridgewater here as well. Chief, you have any comments you want to add? Because I know you also were very helpful in the selection of the advisory committee. And the chief is a Raynham resident, and so
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board. As far as the committee, I was honored and pleasured to been asked to take part of that. And being a fire chief in a local community, I work with Raynham very, very frequently, so I know the staff, I know the individuals personally, from their operational standards to their professionalism and to their unique dedication to the job, because they are understaffed. They work harder than a lot of people give them credit for. And that being said, during this committee, and it was a great mix of different individuals, and I was very pleased by their questions, their education, their lack of, but weren't afraid to ask the three candidates questions or to get the proper insight. And I'm here to tell you tonight that all three candidates were outstanding. Obviously, Brian had some more credentials, and he was by far our choice. But the other two candidates who stepped up, like Brian said 10 years ago when he decided to do it, when Chief Janis applied, he saw that, he undertook it. Every one of these men in this room are feeling the same way. I felt the same way almost 15 years ago. If you do not dedicate yourself to this job from the day you start, it can be a hard road. But individuals who take their time and do the education, do the added extra without looking to be identified or rewarded for it, it's something to be said, and that's what you have in front of you. Not only your new chief, I hope, but every other individual in this room. And as a taxpayer, a resident for 28 years, and a chief that's going to work hand in hand with them, I couldn't be any prouder. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. So if there's no other questions or comment from the board, it is on the agenda, so we do have the opportunity, if the board's so inclined, to make an appointment tonight. My recommendation to the board is that we do move forward with an appointment with the caveat that it takes effect July 1 and is contingent upon successful contract negotiations. What's the board's pleasure?
Wow. I think you know what my pleasure is. My pleasure is being able to say, Mr. Lasivita, Chief Lasivita, I would like to appoint you as part of the board, to appoint you as the new fire chief for the town of Raynham.
And I would be very proud to second that.
Good. Just for some added discussion, Chief Levy mentioned it, and I know the board is going to share my sentiment on that, but we did have three phenomenal candidates apply. I think it's a testament to what Chief Janis has done over his tenure as chief in terms of developing a quality pool of people to fill the leadership ranks in the department, and not just that, but have the fortitude to step forward and be willing to offer their name for consideration and their ideas and thoughts for moving the department forward. I've said it a half dozen times now. I'm sad to see Jim go. I love getting my 7 a.m. fake FaceTimes from Jim. So Brian, you got to fill in for that. But I'm confident that Brian is going to pick up where Jim is leaving off and continue to move the department forward, and I'm happy to join the board in supporting that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. Congratulations. In the event that we made the appointment tonight, I requested the town clerk be here, and I do see her back there. Madam Clerk, would you do the honor of swearing in our chief-elect? Yeah. Marcia, do you want to come here and I'll move? So you have the...
Oh, okay.
Joe, you want to call it this thing? Yeah, sure. Come on up.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear to perform the duties of fire chief for the town of Raynham, effective July 1st, 2019, to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I will.
You're duly sworn in.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Son's gonna pin the badge.
Sean has.
Sean.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm getting it.
That's great. Before we finish off this part, is there anybody in the audience who has any comments for the appointment tonight? None? All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming, including I think, the entire Raynham Fire Department. Chief Levy, the command staff, Captain Johnson, Lieutenant Trotman's here, Lieutenant Kelleher's here, and our newest lieutenant, Lieutenant Carnes, is here. So it's great seeing you all. We appreciate it. Congratulations, Brian, wherever you, there you are. Moving a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
One question.
Yeah.
Are you meeting on June, I think it's 11th? Is that the second Tuesday? Yeah.
If you give me a minute, I can tell you.
I know you take every other...
Yes, we are.
Okay, can we make a reservation to swear the other officers that are moving up
Absolutely.
June 11th?
Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect. Anything else for the fire department? No? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Brian, congratulations. Sarge, anytime, my pleasure. Jim. Congratulations. Thank you. You're welcome.
It was really good to see you. And you all want to talk to me, my first phone, say that you were here chatting with Claire? Yeah. I know. Okay, it would be good to hear that you were here, yeah.
I don't know how you're gonna beat him with the same bunch as your whole
And there's Joseph.
How are you? Thanks for coming.
All right, now that I got the right boy in,
Thank you.
I told him a year ago. Didn't I?
Yes.
I said, don't fret about nothing, you're gonna be in like 10. And he's in. That's it.
Thanks,
Is
guys.
that cool?
You too, thank you.
And
Next
don't
up,
say hi to Dominic. Marcia, because he's like a party in here.
We'll fix this, Brandon.
next up on the agenda is citizen and community input.
I hope I see you soon.
Well, you're next, Tracy, you're at a different part, so, okay. Nobody? Okay. We have two public hearings this evening. I'll call the first one to order at 7:34 PM. That's the transfer of a liquor license for Harry's La Casamia, and the petitioner has requested we postpone that till May 21st. What's the board's pleasure?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is postponed, and the hearing is adjourned at 7:34. Our next hearing I'm calling to order at 7:34 PM is the dangerous dog hearing. Michael Keith, 45 Wood Street, Bridgewater. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 157, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing regarding the disposition of your dog on Tuesday, May 7th at 7:20 PM at Raynham Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass. The hearing will address the incident that occurred on April 18, 2019, as detailed in the attached police report. If your dog is deemed dangerous, the consequences could be serious for the dog. Therefore, you must attend and may also have a representative present if you wish. The owner of the dog is not able to join us this evening due to a medical commitment. But my suggestion to the board is that we move forward with the testimony of our Assistant Animal Control Officer, and then we can make a determination after that as to how we'd like to proceed this evening. Okay?
Okay.
Ms. Brackett?
Linda Brackett, Assistant Animal Control Officer. Joe had read, you'd read the letter from the person
Yes.
that was bitten. He's not able to be with us tonight. He's in the hospital. He's ended up with another infection. They're going to have to do surgery and a skin graft, and he's at Brigham and Women's in Boston, and they've had to stop his cancer treatment because of this dog bite. I don't know. I went and I met the dog. The dog is aggressive. The animal control officer in Lakeville, who's not afraid of any dog, is afraid of this dog. He said that if this dog is released, it needs a rabies vaccine. He will not go and get the rabies vaccine by himself. He's going to make the owner come and go with him. I've never seen Dave Freight's afraid of a dog, ever. That tells us something. I don't know. I went to, Mr. Keith is moving to Raynham within the next couple of weeks. I went and looked at the property tonight to see where he was moving to. I don't see how he's going to contain the dog. It's a commercial building. It's a residence out front with a office attached to it, and behind it is a big garage. There's no place to put a fence or anything to keep the dog. There's going to be workers and people. I don't know what type of business it's going to be, but there's going to be workers and people in and out of there, and this dog shows that it's aggressive. I mean, you read the letter from the woman last week, and she talked about how he has admitted the dog's gotten loose. He can't leave the dog at home because he's aggressive. I mean, I don't ever, want to say we should put a dog down. I just, you know me, I fight for every animal. It doesn't matter what it is, a squirrel, a chipmunk. I mean, I try to save everybody. I don't know. We've got to take the public safety into consideration. The dog has not been licensed since 2015 in Bridgewater. He says he's only owned the dog a year and a half. The license in 2015 was in his name, so I don't quite understand, I don't know what's going on there. I've talked to the town, I've talked to the animal control officer. I mean, you've seen the pictures. I've got some new pictures from today. It's serious.
Yeah. Do you have a recommendation for us, Ms. Brackett?
I don't know. I mean, if the dog's moving to our town, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we want to say we'll give him a chance to keep the dog contained. It's got to be in a 6-foot enclosure. It would need to be muzzled if it goes off the property. But I don't know, based on that property, if he can do that. It's really tough for me to say to put a dog down, but once you see what he did to this man, I don't know.
You did share pictures with the board. I'm not going to ask that you share them tonight due to the graphic nature of them.
Yeah, I've got some that are worse from today.
Yeah. We're not going to share those.
No, we're not.
Does the board have any questions for Ms. Brackett? And again, noting that the dog owner is not here tonight.
I questioned the whole scenario of the thing. He had this dog tied up
to a truck.
To a truck.
Yeah, in a work area.
in a work bay.
Yeah, and it was, I guess supposedly it was on a 30-foot rope or chain.
Now, at the time, the dog had an injured leg.
The dog had an injured leg. From speaking to Mr. Keith, he said that the dog had fallen on the ice, and he had hurt his leg, and he had taken him to the vet to have it checked.
Okay.
And the dog also has Lyme disease.
He has Lyme disease, which means he wasn't taken care of properly.
Yeah, he was treated for that too, but I don't know
Yeah.
if, I don't think Lyme disease can cause aggression.
Oh, no, I wouldn't think so either. I don't know, I cannot see somebody tying a dog to whatever he is tied to,
A truck.
or what have you, with an injured leg, knowing full well that people were going to be going there. He certainly is not a conservative owner. He's supposed to have his dog in control at all times, and
Correct.
that's not tied on a lead
To a truck.
to a truck. That's by his side at all times, without a lead or even with a lead. I would not really care to see this dog, after other newspaper articles I've been reading,
Yes,
living in the town of Raynham,
I agree.
free like that.
No.
I would hate to say put it down.
I believe this is the first record we have of a dog bite, but he did admit to the people that the dog has bitten before.
Has bitten before.
But we do not have an official record of that.
And what did Bridgewater say?
Bridgewater said that he had gotten loose, and somebody had picked him up and had found the owner. The Bridgewater ACO has had a couple interactions with him. They weren't positive, but there was no dog.
But the
bite.
interactions that Bridgewater had with him, was the dog aggressive, or did the dog just go quietly, or what have you?
They never picked the dog up. A
Oh, they-
passerby actually picked the dog up and put it in their car, and the owner of the dog says, "I can't believe you picked that dog up. If you do that again, he's going to bite you."
Oh, wow.
Ms. Riley?
Just a question, I
Yeah.
don't know, Ms. Brackett, what are our options? I mean, could the board just say that we don't want that dog in the town of Raynham, and then it's up to the owner, whatever he wants to do?
You can do that. I mean, we can vote to euthanize the dog. After one dog bite, that's pretty difficult. I did get a call from the Department of Agriculture, and he was extremely adamant that after one dog bite, he didn't care what the severity of the bite was, that we should not even be considering this, we shouldn't even be holding a hearing. I think that's crazy. I mean, we got to protect our citizens. I mean, suppose that was a little girl or a little boy. I mean, the child wouldn't have survived.
I think in the few dog hearings that I've sat in on, and I think there's probably only two other ones. One time we had a vote to euthanize a dog because
Yes.
it attacked a child, and it was multiple attacks.
And the chickens?
Yeah, and then, no, that was a different one.
Oh, the chickens
Yeah.
were a different
And
one,
then that was the second one, which is where we postponed and required the property owner and the pet owner to put in some additional fencing and then come back and show us that they had done that. So those are the only two, that's the one with the chickens.
The one with the, oh, okay, but then there was another one where we voted to euthanize the dog.
Yeah, that was the first one I
That was the
talking-
first
yeah,
one, okay,
yeah.
all right.
So those are the two that I've done, and the two spectrums on that.
Yeah, so those-
In
yeah.
terms of prohibiting it from town, legally, we probably could, but I think it comes down to enforcement, whether, we're able to adequately enforce that.
You say you went to the house, Linda, and you didn't see any viable way where they could contain this dog?
I didn't. It's right on, is it South Street East? It's on the Walmart side.
Yes.
Right across from Life Care.
It used to be Laughlin
Laughlin
Construction.
Construction.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a small blue house ranch.
Yep,
And
very
then
close to the road,
Yeah.
and there's an office attached to it. It looks like they're doing work in that office. Then it's like a big wide driveway, and you go out back, and there's a big garage or barn or something that,
Right.
for construction equipment or whatever. I don't know what type of business they're gonna put in there. But
You don't know what type of business he has?
I don't know what's going in there, no.
Well, it really doesn't matter what kind of business he
No,
has.
because
He's
you're gonna have
people
workers,
going
you're gonna
in
have
and
workers
out.
there, I don't know if you're gonna have the public, but you're gonna have people that work there going
Right.
in and out. And there's no place from what I could see, I mean, I didn't walk around the back of the yard because I wasn't gonna trespass, but I didn't see a spot where you could put a run big enough for a dog. I mean, my thought would be like something that's, 6 feet tall and, 8 by 10 or whatever at least, but
Right.
with shelter and things, but I don't know how they're gonna contain the dog there.
I don't know how you can control it from not coming into town either. That's another thing. You can say you can't bring your dog into town, but
Yeah.
who's to
And
say?
the other thing that disturbs me is the dog hasn't been licensed since 2015. I mean, that shows irresponsibility. The dog's rabies vaccine actually expired on the day of the incident.
So by my estimation, Board, we have a couple options. We can postpone the hearing and see if we can try to get the owner in. We can take action tonight, and if we take action, I would think the most viable options are either put some significant conditions on it that Ms. Brackett's alluding to, or take the action I know none of us take lightly, which is to euthanize the animal.
Well, you hate to put a dog down on one incident. Now, I know somebody else has said, but that's hearsay and you don't know how.
But if you look at the severity of the injuries, that's the other side.
It's pretty serious.
It's
pretty
very serious. I mean, this
Yeah.
man can't he was in a cancer trial, he cannot participate in the trial any longer because of these injuries. I don't know, I mean, it's a tough call. I would have liked him to be here to speak to us.
Perhaps we can table it then until we get him in here so he can speak for himself as to what he would do.
The only issue is Department of Agriculture is pushing us to release this dog. And I think that might be part of this whole.
Well, if you
whatever's
release
going
the
on.
dog, you can release the dog to the owner, because the owner isn't in Raynham at this time.
It's going to be moving within the next 10 days.
Yeah.
If we release the dog, though, before
never
we make a
gonna see.
decision, he's never going to come back.
No.
We've lost our opportunity.
Right.
So my recommendation, if the board wants to postpone it and see if we can get the owner in, is to make that as a motion, send correspondence to him requesting his presence again, and also to assist the Assistant Animal Control Officer. We can enter into correspondence with Department of Agriculture and let them know this is our jurisdiction, not theirs, and we'll operate as we see fit.
Thank you. What
Definitely.
was the reason why he didn't attend tonight? Do we know?
Well,
I
he's
thought
been-
that, I thought you had
You
said he
said
was
he
at the.
wasn't
No,
coming.
it was there was the man that got bit. That
Oh,
didn't come
I
tonight.
thought you were talking,
No,
oh, I
no,
don't,
no,
think
no,
they're two.
no, not the owner of the
Oh,
dog.
I don't know.
No, it was the,
Did
the
the
man
owner
that
of the dog contact you at all?
Yeah, I've spoken to him several
And
times.
he knew he was supposed to be
He
here
did.
tonight?
um,
Oh, I don't think-
that location on South Street East, is that his business right now?
They're working on it to move a business into it.
So perhaps what we do is table it and have a police officer serve him with the letter, which is, I believe, within our jurisdiction. And then I would, again, add that we send correspondence to DAR.
Okay, I'll give you the
I'll make
contact
that
information.
motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. You got that, Mr. Luciano?
They do, call me tomorrow, we'll work on that letter. We'll put it
Okay,
together.
perfect, yeah, I'll give you a call in the morning. Could I just talk a little bit about issues we're having in town with wildlife?
Yeah, let me just close this hearing
Okay,
first, and then you
perfect,
can.
perfect.
I'm going to close the hearing at 7:46. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I just may, just one piece of information regarding it. Because the Board of Health gets all the dog bite reports from hospitals and doctors' offices. This is, as far as I can tell from the records we have, I don't know how complete they are, but I couldn't, this is the only one I found for that particular
Okay.
owner or address.
Right, but the dog had resided in Bridgewater.
Right, but incidents from Rainham.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If there were others in Rainham, I
Right.
don't have any.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
All right,
thank
thanks,
you.
Matt.
All right,
Linda,
close
you
the
can.
hearing, okay. We're getting a lot of phone calls from residents worried about wildlife. I got a call at 6:30 yesterday morning. There was a fox walking down the middle of the street. It was out getting breakfast for its babies. I mean, that's what they do. It's that time of the year. I had somebody, this fox in their yard, and they want to move them. It's illegal to move, to trap or remove wildlife. Had a guy that had a mother raccoon and baby raccoons in his shed. I said, well, leave the door open. When she's ready to leave, she'll leave with the babies. He says, but she's in my shed. I said, I understand that, but I can't come and remove animals from your shed. I mean, wildlife's going to take off. I mean, the coyotes are out feeding their young, the foxes are out feeding their young, the raccoons, the possums. Everybody's out right now. They all have young, and they're just out, and they're not going to hurt anybody. I mean, watch your dogs, watch your little kids, but, it's not, people just call and they're just totally, they're really worried, and there's not much to worry about. I always say, oh, and they're beautiful animals. I had a fox in my yard the other day. Beautiful, beautiful.
Perhaps what we can do, Ms. Brackett, is if you and Adam want to work with Mr. Luciano and develop a Q&A as to what ACO can do and what they can't do, because I know.
That'd be easy.
Yeah, well, but I think that would be helpful, and we
Yeah.
can have that on the website the selectman's office can have it available if a resident calls.
Yep.
And you guys can keep it in your vehicle. That way if
Yep.
you're out and you need to give it out. But that might give some more consistency and give you a playing field to work off of as opposed to fielding the calls and just saying it without having something in
Yeah,
writing.
and Fisheries and Wildlife actually has some really good handouts I had last year.
Okay.
I think there's some here at Town Hall, I'll
Yeah.
look. If not, I can call Deb Silva from
Yeah.
Fisheries and Wildlife and get some more.
Good.
But it really explains the whole thing.
Sure. Yep.
But, I mean, they're just out, I mean, there's so much development, they're getting pushed out of their area. I remember one day last summer, I walked out in my backyard in early morning, and there was a deer out there eating my apple tree, and he like hissed at me, and I jumped, but I mean, he's not gonna hurt me. You
Any
just feel
questions?
One last thing for Ms.
Yes.
Brackett. Trying to research to do a little information for tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
I noticed that there's a new Massachusetts animal control law that's supposed to be the most comprehensive the state legislature has ever passed, and it's supposed to go into effect October 31st. And it does require all animal control officers to receive formal training. Have you
Yes.
heard anything about that at all?
Yes, I actually took that formal training last October. It was a 8-hour, it was 2 days, it was 8 hours each day. I have the certification, then in the first year, you have to have 30 hours of training. The rest of it, I did online. And I did, last year, I gave you that certificate.
Yeah, if I recall, you got like a 98 or a 99?
No, I got 101.
Oh, there you go.
Bonus question.
Because you got bonus points.
There you go. Good. Anything else, Ms. Riley?
No, but if there's any information that would be helpful to us, just pass it along.
I will, yeah.
Thank
And
you.
there's some things with the new Massachusetts laws versus our bylaws that we should really work on.
Sure.
Because now Massachusetts has gone to a 7-day hold on stray dogs, and our bylaw is 10 days, so we should do something to get those
Right.
into sync.
Okay, good, thank you.
Mrs.
You're
Smith,
welcome.
anything else?
No, I'm just waiting for them to start complaining about the turkeys.
The turkeys, I saw a dead turkey on my way home from work this afternoon on the side of
I
the
got a
road.
whole mess of them in the yard.
You have a whole bunch? I have, last summer I had like just 4 or 5 big ones and like a dozen little tiny ones, and
They're animals.
they're animals, yeah. There's nothing.
There's nothing you can do about them, just leave them alone.
Exactly. That's what I tell
And they will
people.
never bother you if you don't bother them.
Exactly. That's what I try to tell people, and sometimes they get a little bit upset, but, you know, I try my best to be, pleasant, but I'm not telling them what they want to hear, so.
Well,
I mean, they think you're gonna run over and, trap a fox or a coyote or,
no. We have a fox that comes in, has a drink out of a little baby pool we had in the backyard for the dog. I have pictures of him, and he's absolutely
How many
adorable.
foxes do you have? Just one?
Mummy and the babies, 2 babies.
They're so much fun to watch. I wish I had some in my backyard. We can invite them to my house, because I'm not gonna be worried about them.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
New business, Mrs. Smith?
I don't really have any new business, sir.
Ms. Riley?
No.
None. Old business, Mrs. Smith?
No.
Ms. Riley?
No.
Okay, Town Administrator's report, Mr. Luciano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One question, the motion to continue the hearing was what date did you set?
Next week, I believe is what the motion, right? Yes, the intent, next week.
All right, so we'll have to, okay. Because that's an early, we'll have to make note, that's the 5:30.
Oh,
Yes, 5:30.
well, do we want to, I appreciate you, push it back a little bit? Oh, because we're holding the dog. Yeah.
We're paying.
The sooner the better.
Okay, next week.
We'll do 5:30, what difference?
I would recommend 5:15,
Okay,
Okay.
because we haven't posted it yet.
yeah.
All right, so that'll be part of
that
my
works for the
report then.
board. Thank you for catching that, Mr. Luciano.
All right, put the reading glasses on. Annual town meeting is set for Monday, May 20th at 7 PM at the Raynham Middle School. The pre-town meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday, May 14th at 7 PM here at Town Hall. The warrant has been posted, the official warrant has been posted on the town website, and also it should hit the mailboxes and PO boxes starting today, tomorrow, and Thursday. I see some have already nodded they've received it. That's the annual report and recommendations from the Finance Committee that was mailed out. There'll also be a special town meeting on May 20th at 6:45 PM at the Raynham Middle School prior to the annual town meeting. The warrant has 4 articles requesting internal account transfers for this fiscal year that ends on June 30th. That warrant is also posted on the town website. Bristol County Agricultural High School. Our latest tuition invoice lists 8 students from Raynham that currently attend, 5 in grade 9, 2 in grade 11, and 1 in grade 12. It is a secret gem of our county. I know the chairman serves on the county advisory board, and I thought the board would be pleased to hear that our numbers are up in attending that school. Town website video program, Debbie Dooney from our office and I will be meeting with CGI Communications to update our town website video. This service is provided at no cost to the town. If you have any recommendations, feel free to let me know what you'd like to see on that. The Donald L. McKinnon Meeting Room, where we currently sit, we have started the reconfiguration of this room by relocating the podium. I think that already showed to be very successful.
This is good.
Where we had room for the standing room only crowd tonight. With the permission of the board, I'll move on to the next steps, which will be installation of new HD cameras with different angle locations, new microphones, and a video monitor for attendees and cable viewers who will be able to see plans, etc., that are presented at various committee and board meetings. The cost is borne by funding from our cable company agreements that can be applied to equipment upgrades. Okay with moving forward with that?
Sounds good.
I want to thank our local cable commission and our gentleman who handles the cable for his work on this, and Bob Iafredi, who has been very helpful because he brought forth what the planning board and the ZBA needs for this meeting room, and that's where we got the idea to put the TV monitor. Looking at that location there, board members will be able to see, audience members will be able to see, and a camera that we'll be able to focus in on that so the people at home will be able to see the presentations as well.
Good.
The next Selectmen's meeting will be next Tuesday, May 14th at 5:15 with a very light agenda, but we will have the continued dog hearing on at 5:15. That'll be reflected in the letter that I'll draw up and have the officer present. We will have an executive session immediately following the Selectmen's meeting. Next week under Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 21, Labor Council will be in attendance for that executive session. And then we'll roll right into the pre-town meeting at 7 o'clock that same night. Union negotiations are ongoing with the sewer and highway unions. Department head meeting is this Thursday, May 9th at 10 a.m. here at Town Hall. I have asked that all attend, or if they are unavailable, that they send a representative from the department in their place. And finally, the Government Study Committee, the next scheduled meeting will be this Thursday, May 9th at 6:30 p.m. at the South School. On the agenda is taking a look at the permanent town administrator position, job description, duties, responsibilities, and taking a look at what other towns and communities are doing in the area. We're focusing on what is southeastern Mass doing. The committee feels, and I concur, that we shouldn't be looking at what Wayland and Wellesley are doing. So we're looking at what our peers are doing in the area with that position. So I think that's a good start for the committee. And that's all tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Luciano. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a little comment. I want to thank you, Gordon, for talking to Mike and getting this done. This comes as a result of a letter that was sent to me by one of our constituents who comes to our meetings here, and she said it's very difficult. She couldn't see or hear, what have you. So we got together, and this is the result of it, and I think it's going to work very well, because now you can hear better from the new microphone that's going on. There's going to be 2 microphones, one for the audience as well as one for cable.
And these are all going to be replaced. We're going to do on-off buttons on these.
Right.
We're going to, the back on the ceiling there is going to be a microphone system for
Yep.
those in the audience that want to speak from the back. It'll pick it up better.
Right.
Along with these cameras, we're going to do some work on reconfiguring. Michael is going to do some work on reconfiguring the angles, moving them possibly lower, so the angle isn't so high down onto the speakers. Michael has got some great ideas. He does an excellent job, and he was very helpful in this. But as I said, to get the input from Bob as well, I know what this board would like, but for the other boards as well, we're gonna make this a much more easier meeting room for people to understand, not only here but at home.
Good. Thank you very much, Gordon.
Mr. Riley, anything?
No, if only you can get some filters on those cameras to make us look better, Gordon, we'll be all set. But beyond
We
that,
don't
just
know.
want to
We don't
really
know.
encourage everybody to go to the pre-town meeting, because that's a more relaxed atmosphere where you can discuss and debate the issues rather than waiting for the annual town meeting and get some good information. So hopefully, and also just want to mention too that my unofficial role as this board's liaison to the Government Study Committee, I've delegated to Gordon. I'm sure he'll do a great job keeping us informed of that, and that's a great committee, so I'll be anxious along with Mr. Pacheco and Mrs. Smith hearing their recommendations when they're ready with those. And I've got a couple things on Selectmen, so
Sure,
if you want me to go right to that?
Well, I'll start with.
Go right ahead.
Mrs. Smith, okay. Bridgewater Raynham Rainwater Players presented All Shook Up last week, and it was
heard
a
it was wonderful.
fantastic musical as usual. The singing is incredible, the dancing, the choreography. You have so many, and I think it's one of the largest casts they've ever had. So many young men and women on stage dancing, jumping, and what have you, and that they all do their own role and nobody collides is absolutely amazing. The set decorations were phenomenal. I've said before, you could put them up against a professional company and, you know, they're stars. They really are. They did an incredible job, and just kudos to everybody that's involved with that. We had our parade committee meeting yesterday, and all things are on track for that. Next meeting is next Monday, May 13th, at the Merrill School at 7 o'clock. Anybody that wants to jump on and help us with the parade, please come. And if you haven't already planned to be in the parade or watch the parade, please make sure that you do. It will be Saturday, May 25th, starting at 10 a.m. And also just remember the Raynham Firefighters Fishing Derby, which is an awesome event, is Saturday, May 18th, and I believe that's all I have.
Thank you. Mrs. Smith, anything?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Correspondence, first up, Ms. Brockmeyer and Ms. Sabati were very patient for us. We have correspondence from Ava Sabati. Ava, would you like me to read your letter, or do you want to just come up and talk to us for a minute? All right, come on up. And just state your name for the record for us, please.
Good evening. My name is Ava Sabati. I'm 13 years old, and I'm in 7th grade at Raynham Middle School, and I was just selected for membership in the National Junior Honor Society. So, in June of 2017, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. We were standing on her favorite beach. Prior to this, my mom and dad had been going to what they told me to be were meetings, because one of my brothers is in the special education program. I later on found out that they were not meetings, they were doctor's appointments. And later on that day, my mom told me that she was sick. Over the next year, she underwent many rounds of chemotherapy and radiation and surgeries. About this time last year, she was told that her cancer had spread to her liver and to her lungs, and it was inflammatory cancer, so when you have that, there's not too much you can do, but the doctors tried their best. I've learned a lot from her. She was the most amazing person that I've ever gotten to meet. She taught me so many things, and I've grown up a lot over this past year, and she suffered for so long, and I was really proud of her for even when she was sick still being there for us. She passed on June 7th last year, and this year on June 30th we want to host a color run in her memory and a fundraiser to support other families like mine who are going through the same thing. All proceeds will be going to Dana-Farber at Brigham and Women's. I recently found out that the American Cancer Society uses a lot of the money that they get donated for corporate costs, and that's not where I want my money to go. We'll have help through volunteers, and we will be reaching out to the police department. I know my dad is friends with Lou Pacheco. And our route begins on King Philip Street at the gazebo, and it goes up King Philip to South Main Street, to North Main Street, and from Gardner Street back to the gazebo.
Board, questions, comments?
I didn't know she was done. I was listening to her, she abruptly stopped, and that's it. Okay. I would move to accept you having this road race, and you've already spoken to the police department?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
I think you can do it, Mrs. Smith, contingent upon police and fire approval.
Contingent upon police and fire approval. I certainly recommend that you do this. You're a good girl. Thank you.
And I would second that under discussion. Thank you so much for doing that and for giving us such a great presentation, and I hope everybody supports your effort.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's approved, and congratulations, and I'm quite confident your mom's very proud of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. Thanks, Tracy. We have correspondence from the Board of Health relative to some code violations on Paul Street in Raynham. Correspondence from the Planning Board relative to a public hearing on May 16th at 6:15 PM for a special permit on 366 South Main Street, Assessors Map 11, Lot 209, and again, that's the Planning Board, Thursday, May 16th, 6:15 PM. Correspondence from Mass Department of Transportation, overnight Route 24 lane closures, Route 44, ramp closures and detours, May 6 to 17. The work will require single lane closures on 24 north and south in the vicinity of Route 44, and several overnight closures and detours of the Route 44 eastbound to Route 24 northbound on-ramp, and the Route 44 westbound to Route 24 southbound on-ramp. The ramp closures and detours will be implemented from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. the following morning.
104.
Yeah, right.
Request for a tag day, Ultimate Star Athletics, July 1st and July 3rd, and they seem to be okay with the board's pleasure.
Move to allow.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved. We have the request to renew the junk dealer's license for Rose's Auto on 1 East Britannia in Raynham.
Move to renew.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved. And from MVMA, Mass Veterinary Medical Association Charities, they are notifying us that the Animal Control Department has received $1,000 in funding to cover unpaid invoices for emergency care of stray or unowned animals. We don't have to do anything with that, but appreciate the donation, and thanks to Animal Control for, I'm sure, your part in obtaining those funds.
It was a grant, and you just have to apply for it.
Keep applying, Linda. That's all we have for correspondence. Press time has left. Any emergency business?
Nope.
None. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, motion to adjourn to sign the bills and warrants, and no business to be conducted after.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.